You know, I taught scuba for over a decade. I have literally thousands of dives under my belt, and any diver that's in the water that much has a shark story. The 4-foot lemon shark becomes a 6-foot bull shark. That juvenile black tip, it grows every time you tell the story. It grows a foot each time, eventually becoming a man-eating mako. Well, Donald Trump has his own shark story, and it comes in the form of a gash in the reflecting pool. And look, we've heard from Donald Trump and his claims that the vandals carved a 350-foot gash in the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. And he's called the people who did it enemies of the state. There's just one problem with that whole story, and it's nothing but a megalodon in Donald Trump's mind, and that prospect is scarier than any living shark. And let me break this down for you. And first, the shark story. Because a former federal prosecutor following this thing actually tracked the measurement over time, what Donald Trump has claimed, and Donald Trump keeps changing it. It started as a 200-foot gash, then 250, 300, now it's 350. Like an auction, the scar is growing about 50 feet per news cycle. At this rate, by the 4th of July, the vandals will have cut a 900-foot trench and struck oil, black gold, Texas tea.
They would cut it, and they would grab this very expensive and very good material, totally waterproof, and they rip it. These people are sick. They ripped a scar 350 feet long through the side of the reflecting pool.
And by the way, enemies of the state, that term, an enemy of the state or public enemy, comes from a Roman concept, hostis publicus, where someone was a threat to the very survival of the government. So in our president's own language, our nation cannot survive the algae bloom on the mall. And then on Truth Social, Donald Trump claimed 6 people arrested, 7 more cited for slicing the pool's liner with a knife or razors. He was confident in those numbers. Yet, the New York Times did a little digging here because they went and asked actual federal prosecutors for the actual details. And that's when the administration went completely silent. They confirmed that some citations exist, and then they refused to say anything else. They won't say who was targeted. They won't say what anyone actually did. They won't even confirm that a single arrest happened. In a normal high-profile case, a prosecutor's office holds a press conference and runs a mugshot parade right down Pennsylvania Avenue. Yet here, total silence. And the few people we do know about make the silence even stranger, because it was on film one of these alleged enemies of the state, a 67-year-old former Olympic canoeist, the guy biking on the National Mall, reaching into the pool to feel a piece of the liner that floated loose, and he was arrested. Another person was apparently detained for picking a flake of paint out of the water. So yeah, lock up your grandpa because he touched some peeling paint. Get the tactical team out. Antifa is a kayaker. And think about this phrase that he reached for. Not vandals, not troublemakers. Enemies of the state. That's the language of a man who's watched far too many movies about himself. A scuff on the bottom of a fountain is now an act of war. And war criminals are a retiree on a Schwinn and a woman who picked up a paint chip. Trump is resting the full moral weight of the word treason on frickin' pool maintenance. Now, I do want to get some levity here because there are 2 possibilities, and I don't know which one's worse. Possibility 1, the arrests are mostly imaginary. Donald Trump inflated them the same way that he inflates the non-existent gash, and his own Justice Department is not going to produce the records because, well, the records would embarrass him. And hell, we don't even think anybody's even interfered with this pool because the manufacturer of the lining has never mentioned anything that resembled vandalism in their report. Hell, even the prosecutor on the case essentially says that he doesn't believe Trump, and he won't believe Trump until the government produces a single actual arrest record, which they are pointedly not doing. But possibility 2, to me, is the one that's more scary. That the government really is grabbing people over the peeling paint in the pool that by all accounts was a failure on Trump's part. The government arresting people over Trump's failures and deliberately hiding their names and keeping it all a secret. So take your pick. Either the President of the United States has invented a list of enemies of the state out of thin air, or the state is quietly detaining people and refusing to tell anyone who they are. There is zero option where this is normal or this is okay. And look, the reflecting pool, it's got the algae problem and the peeling paint because Trump's renovation is going badly. That's it. His no-bid paint job went south. But instead of saying that, the Trump Tower tyrant invented a conspiracy of saboteurs and pointed his DOJ at a man on a bicycle. He has turned pool maintenance into a damn manhunt. And when the Trump government starts naming enemies and then refuses to tell you who it's arrested or why, that is something a scared government does. And that's why I'm asking you to hit that notification icon, because we are going to keep asking the questions that they won't answer. Who exactly did you grab, and what exactly did they do?